Mystery Brothers. Mystery Brothers.
Mystery Brothers.
Mystery Bros.
Mystery Brothers.
Mystery Brothers.
Mystery Bros.
All right, well, hey everybody, welcome to the fifth episode now, Mystery Bros. Yeah, episode five. Episode five.
We're up there.
Yeah. As of today, it's March 14th, and shit's getting real. Getting real with this coronavirus stuff, man. Like,
I mean, I think last week we didn't even have this on our radar.
last week it was like, no big deal. It's corona, like it's taking over China, it's taking over blah, 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 but like we should be fine here. And now, like, all sports are canceled. They just said that they're banning domestic travel, right?
Yeah, they might. They're expected to.
Wow, dude. That's crazy, man.
If you had a cold and the doctor told you you had a coronavirus, would you freak out? Would you be like, I got this?
I think I'd be all right. I think I got this. I'm 29. I'm like pretty healthy. I don't have any like respiratory issues or anything like that.
I have asthma, I guess,
problems.
maybe. Shit.
Yeah, well.
They said that, or if you're a heavy smoker, they say it's also bad because it attacks the lungs.
But yeah, so in the midst here of this coronavirus craziness, we're going to talk about the JFK assassination.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we'll wrap around in the end and talk a little bit more about the coronavirus, just like kind of how we feel and like just talk about it, I guess, because it's pretty fucking crazy.
I mean, if you're listening to this,
big topic right now.
Yeah, if you're listening to this in 3 years, you might be like, all right, you guys are kind of stupid.
Yeah, you can turn it off. You can skip that part if you're listening way past this and you're like, oh, that was just a bunch of bullshit. Like, a couple
like,
weeks.
Like the swine flu or something.
Yeah, a couple weeks from now, no one cares anymore, and it's all like wiped out, or there's a cure, or whatever. But
or maybe if there's like only 15 of you left on the Earth and are listening to this because you guys survived.
Yeah, then you don't want to hear about the coronavirus. So I mean, we're going to talk about the JFK assassination. Like what's widely believed, that kind of stuff, and then we'll also go into like some conspiracy theories behind it, some. Multiple different theories about how people think it went down, and we'll just kind of, we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
JFK, man. JFK was a very interesting president, dude. He was kind of like one of the few like for the people kind of presidents. He wanted to get rid of the CIA. He wanted to he wanted to tell people things. Like he was a kind of for the people kind of guy, very bold. You know what I mean? Like he had a lot of like, tried to assassinate Fidel Castro with the whole Bay of Pigs thing. Remember that? Kennedy told the CIA basically that he needed to get rid of Fidel Castro. So Fidel Castro, obviously, he was the communist leader of Cuba, right? And during the 60s. And not many people liked him. He was doing some crazy shit. So JFK basically told the CIA to come up with a plan to assassinate him. And they did, and they fucked up. And people found out. And people found out what happened and that it was by the CIA. So he got a lot of shit for that. Because, fuck that up. That's not a good look. They were trying to assassinate other fucking world leaders. That happened. He was just a very interesting president. He was very...
I thought he was a good president.
Yeah. No, not saying he was bad. A lot of people liked him. Like I said, like I kind of liked him, dude. I wish like he could have been around today. He, like I said, he was a little bit of like, kind of for the people type of dude. Like he wanted to let people know. He didn't want to keep people in the dark. He was a cool dude. He was banging Marilyn Monroe. He was banging all kinds of people, dude. He had so many mistresses.
Jackie not know until after.
Jackie knew the whole time, dude. She was probably cheating on him too, man. Was
Jackie some smoke show?
She was pretty hot for back then, yeah. For the 60s, yeah, she was really hot. But anyway, so on November 22nd, 1963, JFK was getting ready to get ready for his campaign for the following year because they were voting to see who would be president starting in 64. So he had to go do basically like show some face in Texas because they were having some issues in Texas. The party that he was with didn't, they were kind of losing Texas a little bit. They were
Really?
like shit, and that was LBJ's home state. So they were, there were some tensions there. We'll get into that later. But LBJ, who was the vice president, he was from Texas, so it's like get that shit under control. But anyway, it wasn't looking good for them in Texas, so they had to go do a little show face and just kind of talk to the people in Texas, this and that. So he planned the motorcade for Dallas, where he was gonna ride down the street, wave for the cameras, all the good stuff.
And since that incident happened, the motorcade always has to be closed. It's like the limo. It's not like no more can you.
If they do a motorcade like that, it has to be a closed top, and the president can't be out.
Yeah,
yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, so they had to go do that. As we all know, he was assassinated. He was killed. He was hit by 2 bullets, and it was from the 6th floor of the book suppository that I was just talking about, from the window all the way to the right on the corner of the street. It's something that's baffled a lot of people. It's something that's and we'll kind of let's get into the mainstream. All right, like what we're told by the government.
Okay, let's go.
And what goes from there. So the official theory is he was assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald. And Lee Harvey Oswald is an interesting guy. I totally believe that Lee Harvey Oswald was a part of it. 100%. I don't think that, I'm not one of those people that thinks Lee Harvey Oswald was just a pawn, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Lee Harvey Oswald was definitely a part of it. Lee Harvey Oswald was in the Marines as a sharpshooter.
Oh, really?
All right, so he knew what he was doing. Okay, he wasn't just a bum. He wasn't just a dude off the street. He was in the Marines. He was a sharpshooter. He actually graduated top of his class in sniper school. All right, so dude can shoot. So the people that try and say there's no way he could hit that shot, they're fucking idiots. Okay, listen, literally, like I said, I went and saw it, and it's really not that far. It's 81 yards. Okay, that's really not that far, dude. 81 yards, that's 200 feet. Okay, that's nothing. You could shoot deer from 200 feet away easily. Hunters, you know what I mean? Snipers can shoot people from thousands of feet away. So people that are there's no way he could have shot him from that far away, they're stupid. All right? Lee Harvey Oswald was a sharpshooter, well-trained, okay? And then the official is that he acted alone. He was just fed up with JFK. He really didn't like what was going on. There's definitely some ties with Russia there. He was in Russia for a few years. His wife is Russian. All right, he married a Russian woman. He actually tried to defect to Russia while he was in the army. He wanted to stay there. But since the Cold War was going on, that was a big no-no. So they basically didn't let him. He ended up coming back to America. And yeah, so he acted alone. Basically the story is that Lee Harvey Oswald fired 3 bullets. Okay? Now, the first bullet, this is a little disputed. We're going to get into that later, but as of what the government's telling you, what the papers show, the documents say, all right, because they had a whole committee, an assassination committee, go over this, blah, blah, blah. So what the documents say, Lee Harvey Oswald shot 3 bullets, all right? The first bullet, he missed. Okay, it hit the sidewalk, and it actually ricocheted, and it hit somebody. But it was just shrapnel. It wasn't the guy wasn't dead or anything. It hit him in the cheek. Second bullet, okay? Second bullet is very disputed, okay? The second bullet is what people like to call the magic bullet, okay? And or as the government calls it, the single bullet. This is the single bullet theory or the magic bullet theory, but we're going to get into why there's some fishiness going on here. But so the second bullet hit JFK in the neck, all right, went through his neck into Connolly's shoulder, right? Then it goes out through his chest, through his wrist, out his wrist, into his leg. Now, JFK is sitting up, he's sitting on the back, sitting up on the back seat of the car, so he was definitely elevated, so that makes sense. It could have, went down through all that. Okay, so that's what the theory is. I wish this is an audio podcast. I wish I could show you guys like a diagram of the trajectory, because it definitely had to do some like wonky stuff to do that. But bullets do that, and we've talked about that. Like bullets do some weird shit. Okay, like
What?
Yeah,
It's crazy.
bullets do weird stuff, dude. Especially when they make impact. When they make impact with things,
True.
bullets can do some weird things.
It can change the trajectory.
It could hit a bone,
Yeah,
and bones are strong, dude. Bones are tough. It'll hit a bone and like bounce around. So like, magic bullet theory is not crazy, okay?
But it's
What's
tough.
crazy about it is the bullet they try and show you. But we're gonna get to that later. All right, but yeah. So the second bullet, like I said, through JFK's neck, in through Connolly's shoulder, out his chest, in through his wrist, out his wrist, and then into his leg, and that's where it stayed. All right, and then the third bullet hit Kennedy right in the head. It's rough. Like when I texted you this morning, have you seen the Zapruder film? Do you know what I mean by that? The Zapruder film is the film of like the footage of it happening.
Oh, really?
And a lot of people are a little weary of it because he jolts like to the back and left. You ever the JFK movie with Kevin Costner, and he's like playing the lawyer, back and to the left, back and to the left. That was the big quote because his body did kind of like. His body went back to the left, but supposedly he got shot in the back of the head. So people were like, what's that about? But bodies do some weird things. Like, first of all, he got shot in the neck first. And there was probably like a half a second later he gets shot in the head. So he could have got shot in the neck and just went like this and then got shot in the head,
True.
So
Could have been something like that.
yeah. But the Zapruder footage is crazy, dude. I would say you should watch it, but I don't know because you don't like that kind of shit.
Nah,
it's not like super gory. It's just like
Can you ever see another?
It's bad
Can you
footage.
see a bullet? Can you see another bullet from like coming from different directions? Like,
no. That's the thing. A lot of people like to say he was shot from the front. There was a second shooter, and he got shot from the front because he like jolts up and to the left or whatever. And it's like, I don't know. It's possible. It could happen, but you can't really tell from the video. Like I said, it's bad footage. It's like back in the 60s, early 60s. So it's like not the best footage in the first place. And it's just like not good footage. It's hard to tell. You definitely tell that a dude's head blows off, though, for sure. It's sad, dude. It's hard. It's like the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, wow. Like, ooh, this is like raw. Like, this is the footage. And
where'd you find it? YouTube?
Dude, it's online. Yeah, you can watch it on YouTube, man. It's that's the thing. It's like it's such a like important piece of footage that like they have to put it out there. You know what I mean? And apparently, there's footage from another angle. It's not even disputed. There is footage from another angle, but the government like took it, and no one has seen it. They won't show it.
Damn.
So that's interesting. But okay, to continue the story, like I said, the third bullet right to the dome. It's rough, and then he did it from the suppository. Like I said, the 6th floor window of the suppository, I think it's depository. It's the book depository. And then 48 hours later, Lee Harvey Oswald was captured right away. They came up, they found him, they got him, they found the rifle, and but 48 hours later, while he was in police custody, he's murdered by Jack Ruby on live TV as they were transporting him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as they were transporting him, a dude runs up, just shoots him twice, runs off, but gets caught still. And his name was Jack Ruby. The story is that it was just spontaneous revenge. Apparently, he was a big JFK supporter. That's what's the official story is. All right, there's definitely a lot of theories.
I heard also somewhere that how he shot the bullets, it's impossible in the time frame that they say.
That's not true.
But
You're right. People say that, but it's not true. You could shoot. There's enough time for sure. They've done it. I've seen them do the recreation of it. It was a bolt action rifle, so it's quick. You just go boom, and then you're good. You can shoot another one. Got a cartridge bolt action. You don't need to reload a bullet with every one. So it's possible to have shot that in that time. And like I said, this dude was a well-trained Marines marksman shooter. All right, dude knows what he's doing.
True, but they also say like where he was at, it would have been very tough.
That's bullshit. It's so close. 81 yards. That's nothing. One thing that people do like to say is that they found the rifle, and they say that the scope in the rifle was off by like a big amount. So like, oh, how could he have shot? He got up, ran, ditched the rifle, and then they caught him, and then went and found the rifle. So he tossed that rifle like it could have landed on the scope. You know what I mean? Like scopes, they're very intricate. If anything just like nudges that scope at all, it's going to be off. So saying that is a reason why he couldn't have made that shot because the scope was off. That's not an excuse. He tossed the rifle away. I hear what you're saying. Like, yeah, people definitely are like, he couldn't have made those shots. He could have made those shots. But, dude, easily could have made those shots. Anyone could have made those shots, dude. And this dude was a trained sniper in the Marine Force. He's been under pressure before. He was a Marine.
True, but I still take issue.
Listen, I don't think that he acted alone. I definitely don't think he acted alone. But I think he's the one who shot and killed him. There may have been other shooters, though. I'm not disputing that. JFK was not liked by a lot of people, man. JFK had a lot of enemies. We'll get into some of the theories, huh? Let's see. Well, the first theory that we'll go over this one because it's a quickie and I don't believe it. Is that Lyndon B Johnson was involved or wanted him? Like, supposedly they weren't getting along that well at the time.
He was the governor, right?
No, he was the vice president.
Vice president.
Yeah, he was the vice president, and he ended up becoming president, obviously, after JFK died, so there's always motive right there.
Oh, yeah, true.
But wasn't doing that well in Texas, and that was Lyndon B Johnson's state, so Kennedy was a little bit pissed off at him, like, hey, bro, can't even get your own fucking state behind us. Come on. So apparently there was a little tension there. And then you remember in the video we watched, there was that lady she was like supposedly a mistress of Lyndon B Johnson named Madeline Brown. And she says that she was having an affair with LBJ and they were at some party with like Richard Nixon and like all these high up dudes. And then LBJ just whispers in her ear, hey, those Kennedys will never embarrass me again after tomorrow. Wink, wink, or something along those lines. Like it was like, I think it was like those damn Kennedys will never embarrass me again after tomorrow. But then apparently they like found out that like Lyndon B Johnson was nowhere near like this party that night or something, the night that she said it happened. So like I think she's all bullshit, to be honest with you.
Yeah, she wants a payday.
Yeah. She wanted to get paid for a story, this and that. Yeah,
we even interviewed her for that story.
I don't know. I don't remember who. But
did she go to an actual news source?
I think she did. Like, she went to like a legit paper or something, tried to say it. It might have been like a tabloid type of paper. I don't know. Like one of those bullshit papers.
Yeah,
might have been. I'm not sure, but in the end, I think that's bullshit anyway. Yeah, apparently they just weren't getting along very well. So, and then obviously, like I said, if JFK dies, Lyndon B Johnson is the vice president, so he becomes president. So that's always, that's always motive right there. But it's just, I don't know. I just don't believe this one that ever got out, that he had something to do with it.
That's such a risky tactic.
Right? You're already the vice president. Like, you're sitting pretty good. Like, why try and risk it?
Yes, like, that would be... And if you ever got found out, if you found out that was, like, misplaced or didn't work, or if someone talked... And like even if someone just said like I think the vice and they did an investigation like
you would be so fucked. Dude.
Yeah,
like you'd be fucked completely. So I don't think that one's real.
No,
but that is a theory out there that Lyndon B Johnson. Another one that I don't really believe that much is the Russians. Like we said back then, the Cold War was happening. So there was definitely was tension.
That would have started World War III. That would have started.
Yeah, first of all, that if that gets out, if that somehow gets found out, you're right. Like that basically starts a war. You killed our president, like it's on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're right. Like they would have had to accept that could happen, and I just don't know if they were to do that. Like we knew shit would get real if America and Russia actually went to war, and I don't think that they wanted to do that. I don't think that they needed to either, really. But there is some. The Cold War was happening. Lee Harvey Oswald, like I said, he tried to defect to Russia. He could have easily been influenced by Russia. You know what I mean? Like people are saying like he loved Russia. He had a Russian wife. It was proven that 2 weeks before the assassination, Lee Harvey Oswald was in Mexico City and he visited the Russian embassy, and then he also tried to go to the Cuban embassy. So America and Cuba were not getting along back then too. Like I said, JFK had a failed assassination attempt on Fidel Castro. Things were not going well with them. And he just, Lee Harvey Oswald goes to the Russian embassy in Mexico and the Cuban embassy in Mexico to try and, who knows? No one knows. Was he trying to find solace? Was he going to go to them afterwards, try and escape to Mexico and get to those embassies and then get out of there? We know for a fact that he was there.
I still don't believe that it was like connection. Because if they found out any connection.
Yeah, I don't think Russia, I don't know if. Here's the thing. I feel like maybe some Russians knew about it. Like it's almost like the LBJ thing again. Like I feel like Lee Harvey Oswald was very connected with the Russians and knew, definitely knew some people out there. He might have told them that he was going to do this, but I don't know if they like helped him or told him or anything like that. Like they, you know what I mean? I think that Lee Harvey Oswald was really upset with the political state. A fucked up dude. Killed people because he was in the army, so he knew, you know what I mean? Like he wouldn't think twice about killing someone, and I think that he wanted to be a hero, wanted to be a martyr, Another involvement theory. This one I do believe. I think we're involved for sure as the mob.
The mob?
The mob. There was the Chicago mob, the Miami mob, and the New Orleans mob. He was involved with kind of all of them. The leader of the Miami mob was Sam Giancana. I'm sorry, I think it was the Chicago mob. Yeah, Sam Giancana. He was the leader of the Chicago mob, and Sam Giancana's father and JFK's father worked together during Prohibition in the mob. Like JFK's father was like basically a mobster. And so they knew each other, like their families knew each other really well. The story goes that the Chicago mob and Sam Giancana basically got JFK elected. Like they rigged the polls or basically like paid people to vote type of shit. Like they
really?
Yeah.
They influenced people to vote.
They influenced people to vote. They also kind of like, I don't know exactly how they did it, but I'm pretty sure that they had like all kinds of people go in to vote with like dead people's IDs, like people who had died.
Oh, really?
And they all like voted and stuff. And I think that was part of it. Have you seen the movie The Irishman?
I've not.
No, it came out recently on Netflix. Really good movie, by the way. It's Martin Scorsese. It's got like Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Al Pacino. Classic movie, but they kind of go over that, and they show them like basically like having like tons of people just go in and vote using like dead people's IDs and stuff like that. And they like organized that like all over the place and got like a ton. There was like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of votes for Kennedy that like weren't actual votes type of thing. But like anyway, yeah, the story goes that they basically got him elected. And Sam Giancana, like I said, was the head boss of the Chicago mob. He was mysteriously assassinated right before he was about to testify about the CIA being involved, which is going to be the next theory that we're going to get to. But Sam Giancana was killed. He was involved, like I said, with the Chicago, New Orleans, and Miami mobs. All right. And Robert Kennedy, his brother, who was the Secretary of Defense at the time, I think, Secretary of State, one of the two, was basically like putting on a war against organized crime at the time. Like he was basically like, we're going to get rid of the mob. We're going to get rid of the mafia. We're going to get rid of organized crime. We're going to crack down on it. Oh, yeah. There's a dude in the mob, and his name was James Files, and he claims that he was a second shooter. He was part of, and he claims that it was orchestrated by the mafia and the CIA together. But there's no evidence of that. You know, there's no evidence to prove that.
That's a little hard if there's like no connection.
Yeah, you know, anyone can just come out and say like, I did this, but there's no evidence, so who's gonna, you know what I mean? Like, you can't prove it wrong. You can't prove it happened.
If you always look at it, you can always just like, if anybody dies, you don't know what happened. You can always look at like, oh, who had a grudge against him, and then you can just always speculate on that. Like, oh, he had a grudge on this, so his motive is that.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I mean, that doesn't mean like I hate a lot of people. Doesn't mean I'm going to go kill.
What would the motive? Yeah. What would James Files' motive be to say that though? To be like, I was the second shooter. You know what I mean? I wonder. Maybe you just want to be famous. I don't know. That wouldn't be a good kind of famous at all. Like, you killed the president, dude.
What happened? He's not in jail or anything, right?
Yeah, he's in jail. Not because of that. For other stuff, he's in jail.
And he was
a mobster. He came
out in jail.
He was in the mafia, and he came out while he was in jail, saying that he was a second shooter.
And how many people believe it? Is it like well known?
I don't know. It's out there, but there's, like I said, there's no evidence to prove it. So like obviously the government doesn't believe it. Yeah. The government says it was Lee Harvey Oswald acting alone. But yeah, he says he was a second shooter. Also,
but it's just a little hard to also believe like that they would have shot the same time. You know,
you think they would have separate attempts? But no, you can't do that because once one person attempts, if he fucks that up,
yeah, true,
it's over. There's no way.
Like, you think there was like a signal, like 1, 2, 3. No.
I don't know. I think they probably were like once he turns this corner or something like that because it was after. The one thing that gives a little credibility to that is if you go up to the corner of window, right, where Lee Harvey Oswald shot from, the road that JFK came down goes straight up to him, and then he turns and goes down a little turn, and then he was shot like right down here, like after he made the turn. Lee Harvey Oswald would have had a perfect shot as he was coming towards him, and he would have been like 20 feet away. True. Or like 100 feet away, and people are like, "Why did he wait?" Maybe there was a second shooter, and they had to wait till he turned the corner, type of thing.
But I also feel
people say that there was a second shooter that was on the grass next to him.
Yeah,
and then Lee Harvey Oswald was from the top, just in case that guy couldn't get him. You know, he was like sniping. But it turns out Lee Harvey Oswald hit all his shots.
A lot of witnesses say the shots
hit 2 out of 3.
A lot of the shots came from behind, so a lot of witnesses said they didn't even hear like the shots came from Lee Harvey.
Yeah. A lot of witnesses say they thought it was like firecrackers.
Yeah,
going off. Have you heard that? I've heard that where people were like we just thought it was someone lighting off some firecrackers, and then we saw that the president was fucking dead. His head
that must have been freak, dude. If that happened today, dude.
How scary? Yeah, dude, that'd be crazy, man. One thing about this, dude, this scenario. This is a factoid that I heard. Apparently. They were going to do the motorcade, and the Secret Service determined that there was like over like 20,000 windows that like overlooked the motorcade, and they were like, we don't have enough people to cover that many windows, so fuck it. They just didn't cover any windows. They were just like, we don't have enough people, so fuck it. So they didn't do any they didn't have people standing anywhere. But that would never happen today. Never. If they would never do a motorcade like that, they would never do events like that where you're just exposed to that many like hiding places that someone could shoot you from, type of thing. You know. Yeah. You know, the mob thing is very interesting, man, because I know he definitely had some ties with the mob, 100%. They got him elected, and then Robert F. Kennedy just decides time to fucking crack down on the mob, time to crack down on the mafia, and they were kind of like, what the fuck? And dude, the mobs back then were no fucking joke, dude. The mobs back then ran shit, dude. They had so much money, so much power, so much pull, you know what I mean? In their cities, they ran shit. And then another thing is Jack Ruby, who's the guy who killed Lee Harvey Oswald, definitely had mob ties. He was a nightclub owner in Miami, and they say that he just did it out of like rage, like revenge, spontaneous revenge. It's interesting, you know? Like, I'm pretty sure that it's documented. Once Lee Harvey Oswald got captured, he says he's a small piece in this. Yeah. You know, there's other people pulling the strings, basically, is what he's saying.
Because they say like his motives alone wouldn't really like.
Yeah, the fact that he acted alone, I don't believe. But, I don't believe it was LBJ or Russians. I do believe the mafia had something to do with it, 100%.
There's nothing. We've never found any evidence for it, really.
There's huge motive, though.
There's huge motive.
We don't really have any evidence to support anything. We barely have evidence that Lee Harvey Oswald did it other than, they caught him running and then he admitted to it. So, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And then another player in all this that I also believe is that the CIA was involved. JFK was getting ready to get rid of the CIA. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah, he was going to disband the CIA. They definitely had some issues with each other, JFK and the CIA, because of what I said, that he tried to assassinate the
President.
the president or whatever they call it of Cuba. The
dictator.
Yeah, basically the dictator of Cuba. And it was failed and found out. And apparently they were supposed to have air support, and then JFK said no at the last second, no air support. We don't want anyone to see this or anything like that. And that fucked shit up. And so they were and then JFK was mad at them for fucking it up. And they kind of had a rift there, dude. And the CIA back then was pretty crazy. Like the CIA operatives were pretty powerful people, you know what I mean? And they were very secretive. They definitely weren't happy with each other, and if anyone could pull it off, CIA, right?
Yeah, I just feel
that's what
like
they do, dude. They're secret operatives, man.
I feel like that's just a little like your own government trying to assassinate their own. I just feel it's a little out
they were
there.
about to be Nix, dude. JFK was about to shut them down.
But dude, do you really pledge your life to the CIA?
I'm not saying everyone was involved, but I think that the head of the CIA and maybe some operatives that worked there were involved.
Let's get these mobs involved.
They might have gotten the mob involved. They might have, according to the dude, according to
do you have
James
any evidence
Files,
to support this?
One piece of evidence that I think is pretty damning is that Sam Giancana, who was the leader of the Chicago Mafia, he got in trouble, and then he was going to give testimony on the whole assassination deal, and he was going to give testimony that involved that it was a collaboration between the mob and the CIA, and then he was murdered a couple days before he was supposed to give that testimony. Yeah, what do you got to say about that, Earl?
Maybe it's just a happy coincidence.
Maybe
someone just had a grudge against him.
Maybe he was the mob boss. It's pretty sketchy, right?
Yeah,
pretty sketchy. Isn't it? Also, it's kind of interesting that the CIA is the organization that looks into it all at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not going to be like, "Oh, we did it, guys," or you know what I mean? Everyone looks to the CIA. Oh, CIA, do investigation. Who did this? You think they're going to be like? They're basically in God status. They can just say, "Oh, we're gonna figure this out for you guys. Don't worry. We're gonna look into it." And then they just find old Lee Harvey Oswald.
I still find it a little hard to believe the CIA was. If the CIA wanted him dead, why would you do it so publicly?
Yeah, right. You think they'd have access to him out in the street somewhere else?
Or just give him some poison, just find someone just to put something in his coffee and.
But here's the thing, that would be obvious. I feel like they did this because they got Lee Harvey Oswald involved, and because they knew that they could pin it on him, basically. They could have him. First of all, they knew he was a good shooter. He could do that. He was in the army, and they knew he was pissed off at the political atmosphere, and they knew that he was a big fan of Russia. And I feel like they just. They saw all this and they were like, "This is the guy," and they may have told him, "We can get you off, we can get you out." Just
Yeah, I still believe if the CIA did this, it would have had to be very hush hush.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it is. Obviously.
And if you get found out, how could the American public ever trust you again?
Oh yeah. If you get found out, you're done.
I think that's a little too high risk for a CIA to do.
In 2017, President Trump actually released a huge amount, I'm pretty sure I read somewhere it was more than 5 million pages worth of information on this. Like the CIA did their entire investigation, and all those pages, everyone they investigated, blah blah, all got released to the public. All right. Now they had all the time they wanted to be able to redact whatever they wanted, and they definitely redacted a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Blacked it out so you can't that type of shit. But he released a ton of information about it, so much. Because, they did huge investigation into this. The president was murdered, you know what I mean? So, they questioned thousands of, all that kind of shit. And it was all released, right? Supposedly, in the documents, there's a document of a deposition in 1975 of the CIA director, Richard Helms. And so this is what you read in the question. There was a question asked that said, is there any information involved with the assassination of JFK which shows that Lee Harvey Oswald was in some way a CIA agent or an agent, ... The rest is all redacted. No answer. No, they didn't finish the question.
That's interesting.
That is pretty interesting, huh? He was a CIA director. And why wouldn't they redact that whole part? Why wouldn't they just redact all of that? I wonder.
Yeah.
But it is interesting what is left out,
But I feel
the finish of the end of the question, as soon as it says Lee Harvey Oswald was in some way a CIA agent or an agent, blank. After that, ... It's all redacted.
Or an agent, probably or a mob.
Agent of Russia, or agent of, you know what I mean? Or an agent, I don't think he was a CIA agent,
No.
but the CIA recruited him is basically what they're asking.
Because if he was CIA agent, they would have fucking blacked that out.
Oh yeah, no chance. I don't think he was a CIA agent.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I think it was more a mob. I think the mob was more powerful than the CIA back then. Not that the CIA wasn't powerful. They're both very, very, very powerful. They both could have done
I
this.
could see the mob. I can't see the CIA doing that.
No.
No. I think it's too. Yeah.
Okay. Some people think that. Remember how I told you that Lee Harvey Oswald, 7 weeks prior to the assassination, he was in Mexico City at the Russian embassy and the Cuban embassy. Mm-hmm. Some people think that that was a CIA operative who was impersonating him to make people, so that people would see it, and it would make him look more guilty. What if the CIA knew about this? I always go down this route. What if the CIA knew that the mob was going to do this and was just okay, well, oh well, type of thing, because there was a lot of like I said, the JFK and the CIA were
but that's
not getting along.
That's mass hysteria.
He was going to shut them down. He was cutting their budget by 20%. He was basically going to turn them into just an office where they don't really do shit.
Well, I feel if the CIA did it, you would have done some poison and said he got sick and died of the flu. Sorry.
No, because the CIA can't do you know what I mean? They
can hire an agent who can get hired. They know their ways.
Yeah, you're right. But I feel it's just a foolproof plan to get Lee Harvey Oswald to do all this and then pin it all on him. And they knew that, you know what I mean? That's just why why would they poison him and make it really mysterious and blah, blah, if they could just have a dude that they know is pissed off about the president who has a lot of motive.
But what if you miss?
A sharpshooter to go do it.
What if you miss? You could hit some people you don't want to hit.
They don't give a fuck.
You just hit some random dude there happened.
They're trying to kill the president. You think they care about accidentally shooting someone else? They don't give a shit.
But do you think the CIA would care?
No, the CIA doesn't give a fuck, dude. They were ready to kill the president. Why would they give a shit if they killed a random person? They're trying to kill the president. Yeah, no, I don't think that they gave a shit about that. There was some interesting stuff. So one thing I did want to talk about, the whole magic bullet theory. Like I said, I don't think that that's a crazy theory, that the bullet could have gone through his neck and through all those places.
Yeah.
I don't think that's insane. But apparently they found the bullet in Connolly's body, and they show you the bullet, right? The bullet is like perfectly intact, dude. Like there's no, it's like a bullet that went through all that shit would be fucked up. You know what I mean? Anytime a bullet goes through bone or flesh, muscle, anything like that, it gets messed up a little bit. And that bullet was like perfect. It's weird, you know? Maybe they just wanted to like have, you know what I mean? They wanted to pin it on the Harvey Oswald more, and just were like, oh, here's the bullet, and just brought one. You know what I mean? Like brought a bullet in. They were just like, oh, look, this is the bullets from that rifle. That's always fascinated me.
Yeah.
If the bullet that they supposedly said went through so many different things. I mean, another theory, like I said, not another theory, but like...
When are we getting to the alien theories?
We are not going into aliens at all for this podcast. How cool is that? We have not talked about aliens at all yet. Isn't that interesting?
When's the theory of flying saucer coming down?
No. There is no aliens.
Because you think about it's an invisible bullet.
No, there's no aliens being involved in this theory. There are some other interesting pieces to that. There's a dude named Jeff Teague, I believe, and Jeff Teague is the dude who actually got hit with some shrapnel from the first bullet, right? Jeff Teague says that was the second shot he heard, which doesn't make sense, you know? Because according to the government, the first shot hit the sidewalk, hit Jeff, then the next two hit the president. Jeff Teague says that was the second shot. And because of the video we see, those two shots that hit the president, they had to be in a row. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't like he shot one, hit the president, shot another one, missed, and then shot again, hit the president. No, it was boom, boom. It was quick. So those two shots had to be in a row. So if Jeff Teague says that it was the second shot that he heard that ricocheted and hit him, then that throws a little wrench into the only 3 shots type of thing. So, but you know, there's no evidence.
Can they prove that how it went through his body?
Yeah, because okay, the president was sitting up.
No, but can they
him.
prove through the autopsy? Can they see how it went through?
Yeah.
So that invisible bullet, that's actually how it went through. They actually have that evidence.
Yeah.
So why are so many people then?
Because people don't understand. People don't think that bullets can do weird shit like that, but they can.
But if it's stayed in the autopsy, then it's kind of, unless they planted that, But
yeah, a lot of people that were there say that they heard a lot of shots too, more than 3 shots. So I mean,
there's even an umbrella theory.
The Umbrella Man.
The Umbrella Man. Yep. Yeah.
And that is a weird theory, you know, because it's a weird thing because it was not raining at all.
No, he's just in the sun.
It was sunny, dude.
Holding an umbrella.
Some people think he was involved somehow.
Some people even claim that he shot through
the umbrella, right? Yeah,
which is a little hard to believe.
I don't know about that, yeah. Some people say in the other footage that they have that there was
there's just a mysterious woman, dude, who they tried to investigate.
Dude, there's some crazy people out there that think Jackie Kennedy shot him, sitting right next to him, and fucking, and it's on video, the whole thing's on video. She obviously didn't, you know. Tell me about the babushka lady. Is this a whack job theory?
Babushka lady.
Okay.
Babushka lady is an unknown woman present during the 1963 assassination.
She was there on the grassy knoll.
An unknown assassination of John, who might have photographed the evidence that occurred at the time which she was shot. Her nickname arose from the headscarf she wore, which was similar to scarves worn for elderly Russian women. Elderly Russian women. So that's why they gave it the babushka lady was seen to be holding a camera by eyewitnesses, and was also seen film accounts of the assassination. She was observed standing on the grass between Elm and Main Street, and is visible in the Zapruder film as well as in the film The Orville Nix and Mary Muchmore and Mark Bell.
Okay.
Apparently 44 minutes and 44 seconds in the film, even though she was shooting, had already taken place, and most of her surrounding witnesses took cover, she can still be seen standing with the camera to her face after the shooting. She crossed Elm Street, joined the crowd that went up the grassy knoll. She is last seen photographed walking east on Elm Street. Neither she nor the film may have ever been positively identified. No one photographed her is frame captured. So she's never been captured. No one knows who she is. CIA went to an intense investigation to find this lady.
And she just looks
Russian, for who she took photos.
But she just looks like she didn't really care that much. Like while it was happening.
So she took photos.
She wasn't running away.
And like everybody ran away.
Wouldn't you be taking photos? What if she was like a photographer and was like, oh my God, I can get some pictures of the president being assassinated.
Why would you never come out with those photos?
No one ever found her or anything.
Yeah. No photos of that. That's some compelling evidence right there.
Yeah. But she wasn't. They're not saying she was involved, like she shot or anything like that.
But they're saying it has some Russian connection.
Evidence that the Russian.
Because she looked like a Russian.
Okay.
And taking pictures, and she just kept taking pictures and stood there.
I don't know if they could really tell back then in their video that she looks Russian. You know what I mean?
No,
she could have just been wearing a babushka to make it seem like she's a Russin when she works for the CIA.
I guess you want to go real deep in conspiracies,
right?
CIA agents, so they can blame it on Russia, not us.
They had all their tracks covered. They had Lee Harvey Oswald, who was just the perfect dude to pin it on, and then they also had a Russian air quotes Russian lady out there, so it make it seem like the Russians were involved. They were just wanting to throw everybody off their tracks,
Yeah.
That's interesting. The babushka lady. I hadn't heard of that.
Theory.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of that.
But anyways, I think there's definitely a lot of evidence that there's a second shooter and there's motives.
Yeah.
I guess the first explanation is possible.
The what?
The explanation, the official explanation.
Yeah.
It's just very tough to believe.
I know, right? It's just hard to get behind
the facts.
It's hard to get behind that he acted alone is pretty much all I can't get behind. I totally believe he was there, he fired 3 shots, and he fired the 2 shots that killed him. I totally believe that. But was he just? He was just a disgruntled guy who was pissed off and just did it. I don't know. I think that there was more behind it. Just because JFK had so many enemies, man, so many enemies. The CIA and him were big enemies. The mafia and him were big enemies. And those are 2 very powerful organizations. So who do you think did it, Arel? You said you think that. You don't think he acted alone either?
I don't think he acted. I don't know how, because I think the mob theory. I just wish there's evidence. I think with all these,
there is some evidence, dude. You're never gonna find physical evidence of this kind of stuff.
I know.
There's not even really physical evidence that Lee Harvey Oswald did it, but other than he admitted. So you're never gonna find physical evidence. You just have to go with the evidence that you can find. I'm sure
there's a conspiracy that he didn't do it at all.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Of course, there's a conspiracy that he didn't even do it. He was just the fall guy. And the CIA did it themselves, and then just pinned everything on him. But I think he was a shooter. I think he did it. I just don't think he acted alone. I think the mafia was involved heavily. I think the CIA was involved lightly.
Yeah. Right.
What do you think?
I don't think the CIA was involved.
You don't think the CIA? Who do you think? So you think it was Lee Harvey Oswald and in cahoots with the mob?
Yeah, I think it was the mob.
I think the mob. Like I said, the mob was heavily involved, and the CIA was lightly involved. That's how I think. So, I mean, it's such a deep rabbit hole, to go down. No one really knows. No one's ever gonna know. No chance the CIA would ever admit they were involved ever. So we'd never know that. Anyone who was involved now is pretty much dead. So I don't think we'll ever know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. We'll never know. Like I said, I think the mob and the CIA were involved, but there's no chance that we're ever going to be able to know what happened. So it's interesting though. It's fun to look into, man. There's a lot of interesting stuff
about it. Yeah,
a lot of interesting stuff. A lot of cool evidence. A lot of stuff that doesn't make any sense. A lot of mysteries, why this,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's JFK. We've probably been going for about probably got about 50 minutes ish, maybe even an hour's worth right now.
All right,
so
perfect.
we could probably go into a little bit of coronavirus here, just because it's fucking hitting the world right now, man.
It's changing every life. I think everybody's life has been affected.
Yeah, like I said, it is what, March 15th today.
14th.
14th.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, it's March 14th.
Saturday,
March 14th. Now, yesterday was the day shit went down, pretty much, right? Or was it the day before? The day before,
it's
right?
literally been a week. It's been a wild week to remember it.
Well, no, it's been going on for a while. The coronavirus has been happening for a while, but the day that shit went down, I think, was like Thursday, right?
Wednesday's the first announcement.
Wednesday was when Rudy Gobert.
Yeah. And
okay.
Thursday's when all the leagues shut down.
Yeah. So I mean, on Wednesday.
But let's like, do you want to start like where we like in the very like how you first like heard like back in January? What we first thought.
I guess. I mean, everybody knows about it. Everyone knows. Like it. Yeah. It basically. No, we don't need to go the backstory of the coronavirus.
Not the backstory. No, not the backstory. Like when we first heard about it back in January, what we like thought and like how it's kind of like.
I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal, to be honest. But I still don't really think it's that big of a deal. I think that.
So like, I think here's why they're considering this a big deal. So
people are going to die. So that's for sure. A lot of people are going to die.
So here's the thing. So with the flu,
I'm not going to die.
It's saying this is more catchable than the flu, so it spreads really quickly.
Okay.
But with the flu, 0.1% of people die. So if a million people get it, 1,000 people will die. That's a common flu. All right. But with this, it's more 2.7%.
Yeah.
People die. So that's 27,000. If a million people get it, 27,000 will die, and that is a considerable spike.
And they're planning on at least 150 million people in America catching it, right?
Yeah. And they're also saying that, like, if we get overwhelmed, like, if there's too many people coming in all at once, then they're going to have to decide who lives and who doesn't. Yeah. Right now, it's, like, tough because we don't get eggs. If we go to the grocery store right now, you know something's off.
Yeah, we went to the grocery store today, and there were no eggs, no toilet paper. Why is toilet paper such a thing? Like people are scared that, I mean... Just fucking take a shower after you shit or something. Like, I don't know why. I'm not too worried about not having toilet paper. I'll just figure it. I'll survive.
Yeah, I don't think that's the first.
But I am pissed that there's no fucking eggs.
Dude, that is the number one.
I love eggs, dude. I eat so many eggs. I eat eggs daily, dude.
I think so many people love eggs. That's why. I mean, you can just definitely tell if you go to a grocery store that something's off. Like.
Yeah, we went today. It was crazy, dude. It was so busy. Everyone had so many things, dude. Like, everybody in line in front of me had, like, at least 100 things, 150 things. My ass bought a lot of fucking shit, too. Because who knows how long this, we might be... I think I got enough food right now for about a month.
Yeah, so...
of not having to leave this fucking apartment.
So if you got quarantined right now, if they said you can't leave your house, you'll be good for a month.
I think I would, yeah.
I gotta stock up.
It would suck.
I gotta stock up because I'll be good for like a week, so I gotta like.
You should have bought some shit,
dude. I don't know why it's so. Do you think they can physically do that? Could they say like, stay in your home, like, do not leave, do not leave? Could they quarantine us? Do you think that's even a possibility?
I don't know, man. New Rochelle in New York is a quarantine zone right now. Like, the National Guard is like around the entire city, and like no one's allowed in, no one's allowed out.
Yeah, but are they still allowed to do business? Are people allowed to leave the building?
I don't know. I don't think so, dude. It's a quarantine zone. They're probably just sitting in their fucking house. They probably won't let them outside. Here's the thing. I think that no matter what, they can't just say that, like, you have to stay in your house for more than, like, a couple weeks.
If it's 2.7%, like, I feel like... I'm not trying to be mean at all, but I feel like my immune system is probably better than...
Yeah, exactly.
But I do feel for my grandparents, like, right now, if I was 80 years old, if I was 70 years old, I would kind of just, like, I'd maybe ask, like, some of my relatives, hey, could you get something like this for me?
But, yeah, I don't know. It's scary. Now, here's the thing. It's a virus, man, and viruses can mutate. It could mutate and become more deadly, dude. What if it, That's a scary thing. It's mutating constantly. Apparently, it's mutating a lot. Like every different country, like every different spot, that it shows up in. It's a little bit different type of thing.
When was the second strain announced? They announced a second strain of it back in February. Is this a second strain that's coming out right now?
Yeah, there's been multiple strains.
Because I remember listening to a second strain, and it was back in like mid-February, and I'm like, okay, like due to the coronavirus, whatever. And then I've been thinking about really the coronavirus has not really been in my head until this week.
It's just been like kind of in the back of my mind.
Yeah, it's just getting in the back. I've heard about Italy, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry for them, but I've never really thought like it's going to affect us until Michigan got their first case.
Yeah, exactly. Once it started to come to America, I started paying a lot more attention.
Yes.
And then once it hit Michigan, it's like, oh, fuck. And then once it hit Michigan was one of the last states for it to hit. Mm-hmm. So once it hit Michigan, that's when shit started to go crazy, but not because of that. You know, it just happened that once it hit Michigan, the next couple of days, shit went crazy.
Yeah, and it's also because, like, before it hit Michigan, like, you don't have to be worried because it's not here. Like, you don't have to take a precaution.
Yeah, but now it's fucking here.
And went from 2 to 25.
Well, like I said, dude, back to what I was saying. What if it mutates and becomes more deadly, man? That could be a problem. You know, a lot of people the thinking right now is that it's going to start to die off in the summertime because I guess viruses don't like the heat.
They're saying that summer should die off. Like, this is just like a wave that will hit.
Yeah, it might die down a little, but summer's not going to kill it. China right now, like, they've been locked down for a long time.
But, like, it's getting better now. They contained it. The cases, in their height, they had 1,500 new cases a day. Wow. They're now in the single digits. They had 8 and 7, so it's around, like, in single digits compared to what they...
How many people total are infected in China, are they saying?
The official... It's their official...
I know, it's what the Chinese government says, but what are they saying at least? I don't believe the Chinese government.
CNN blasts for now declaring Wuhan virus as a racist after 2 weeks of network.
Oh my god, that's stupid. I've seen a lot of dumb shit. I've seen people say... I've seen people talk about the fact that this could have been released from the lab in China, and there's some interesting stuff around that. Like, the only lab that handles like those kind of diseases and viruses and stuff like that in China is the one in Wuhan, which is very close to the wet market where supposedly it came from. Like, the official word is that it started in this wet market in China where they have all kinds of like really weird, like crazy exotic animals that are just out that they like people can buy and people can eat.
Dude, they slaughter them on the spot.
Yeah, they like kill them there.
It's like you want your chicken, all right?
Yeah, dude, it's crazy, dude. They just like slaughter them and kill them there. But not only chickens, there's a lot of crazy shit. And I think the word is that it came from bats, right?
Yeah, but I've also heard there's a Chinese theory out there that the Wuhan does a lot of experiments, and the experiment is like some animal, like it bit like one of the people working there, and they're doing like some strange shit to the animal. Oh, okay. And then he got sick, and they got carried out, and that's one of the theories. Is how
and he was the patient zero?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the official numbers are 80,824 cases. Wow. Of coronavirus, 3,189 deaths.
Country with billions of people.
There's also some conspiracy. There's also some theories out there. Since this is Mystery Bros, we gotta go.
Of course, we're gonna talk about the conspiracy theories and stuff.
There's a conspiracy theory out there that they're not the government's not telling you the official numbers.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, the Chinese government back when SARS was coming around, they weren't giving the right numbers either. There was the numbers that the Chinese government was giving back then when SARS was hitting was like 3 times less than the actual.
Yeah.
So I don't believe that they're telling us the right numbers right now either. But I don't think if really only 80,000. That's interesting. I thought there would be a lot more than that.
There's 17,000 cases in Italy right now.
Still not as much as I thought, man.
2,000 in 2004, 2,000 something died.
Wow.
It's 7%. Italy's bad right now because they're just overwhelmed. That's why the United States wants to take precautions. They cannot be Italy. You do not want to say your grandpa has it and said, "Oh, we can't help you. He's not he's not needed right now."
It's not needed.
It's kind of hard to say.
That's crazy.
So basically, looking at you, it says, "All right, can you make money for this society?" Okay, we'll help you.
I also read somewhere that for some reason Italy's population is like 50 to 60% people above the age of like 60 for some reason. Like they just have a lot of old people in Italy.
I mean, this is bad for like. I feel like they say also like 80% of people who get this virus will. Some people might just even get very mild symptoms like a cough, sneeze, like just like don't feel well good for a couple days, but not throwing up or anything like that.
Yeah,
and just like mistake it for like common cold or like just being a little stuffy for a little bit. So like a lot of people won't even know they have it. But if like I don't even know I have it, and I'm stuffy and like a little cold, I hug my grandpa.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
man. It's crazy, dude. It's really interesting.
I don't know what we would do for lockdown though. I think that would be a huge panic. Lockdown, like in Italy, they're going through the streets right now, like with like officials like saying stay in your house, not go outside.
For some reason, those numbers to me just don't seem that crazy though.
No, there's
80,000 in China and only 17,000 in Italy. Like, China has billions of people. Italy probably has at least like a couple hundred mil, right?
No, they're probably like 50, 60 million.
Oh, that's it? 50, 60 million?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It just doesn't, those numbers don't.
I mean, US right now is only at 2,100, and like look how big we are.
That's because
that's the thing. We're now going to get these tests, like the government's saying. So like we're going to have a huge spike of people tested, and people are going to fucking freak when they find out. Oh, like there's like 400 new people tested today got coronavirus.
Yeah. I mean, another conspiracy theory is that the Chinese government released this on purpose to do like as sort of like a population control type of thing.
But only 3,100. Wow.
Yeah, I know. They only killed like 2,000 people. But in the end, they're thinking that a lot more than that is going to die. They're estimating like, I think total in the world that like maybe 5 to 10 million.
No, that's just maybe the U.S.
No, the U.S. was 2 to 5 million ish. I think in the world it's somewhere around 10. So that's a lot of fucking people, definitely. But in the scheme of things, the grand scheme of things, there's like what, 4 billion people in the world? Or there's more than that. I think there's like 7 or 8 billion people, right?
It's like the only topic right now. Like people are talking about, like, hey.
I know, right? You can always talk to people about coronavirus right now, which is interesting. At the store, I talked to a few people about it. In line.
Really?
Yeah, in line, I was talking to people.
What were they? Were they like scared?
It was mostly just people talking about like, oh my god, Meyer's a fucking shit show right now because of this coronavirus thing, and then people just saying all kinds of stuff about it.
Like half the people like think this is just like half the people are like think the government. Hey, my mom thinks they're over politicizing.
Dude, so many people think that there's conspiracies behind this, dude. I feel like it's funny how so many people are just like anti-government right now. That like so many people are talking like people are saying that Trump like did this. And I'm like, guys, I get it. Trump fucking sucks and he's an idiot, but like Trump didn't do this. Trump had nothing to do with this. He's a fucking moron. How could?
And dude,
it's dumb that he wasn't prepared enough for it.
Yeah,
technically, but like. That's not just him. Like, a lot of countries weren't prepared for this. No one's really prepared for this.
Italy, we don't want to become Italy.
Yeah, no one's really prepared for this.
But, like, they're also saying, if you want to believe that, the government released it, that would be very risky. Because, like, how do you know it's not going to, like, how do you know it's going to work exactly?
I know, right?
How you want it to work.
That's crazy. Here's the thing. Diseases are crazy, dude. Like, viruses are crazy. Like, they do crazy shit like this. Like,
there's no way we could predict that. There's no
naturally.
Way, there's no way we could be like, all right, we're just gonna kill like 5% of the population.
If anybody's like, oh, this is just weird that a virus like this would pop up, it's like, not really. Viruses do that kind of shit.
Yeah, like from all our viruses have come from animals some way.
Yeah, they're saying it came from bats and got transmitted to humans.
Like swine flu came from pigs.
Yeah, that's kind of what happens. So it's like people saying that this is weird and that the government's obviously got to be involved here. It's like not necessarily,
Yeah. I think it's just crazy that it just, like, last week, if you would have told me last Friday that the NCAA tournament, the NBA, the NHL...
That's what sucks, dude. That's MLB, what's really affecting me the most right now is that, like, all sports are shut down. Like, God. Dude, Rudy Gobert, That whole situation is crazy. Like, he was kind of fucking around, like, joking around, thinking, like, there's no chance I have it. And remember, he was, like, touching all the microphones and shit. And then the next 3 days later, he tests positive, and everyone was like...
Dude, and they're saying his teammate is not happy about it.
Mitchell,
he's
I can imagine,
happy.
dude.
He's not happy about
Basketball
it.
players are big divas, so I can imagine he's, like, all pissed off about it. But
I would be pissed off,
It's
too.
not his fault.
No.
I mean...
He didn't know
it's
he had
kind of his fault, but, like... He didn't get it on... You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like...
He didn't, like, give me the coronavirus.
No, but apparently he was being a jackass in the locker room and, like, touching people's shit and stuff because, like, he thought there was no chance he had it. So then, you know, he was kind of fucking around.
Dude, so when the NBA...
I'd be probably pissed off at him, but I don't think I mean, it's
Like,
not gonna, it's not gonna ruin, like...
Really, if I was sick today, Evan, and I just, like...
That's the
there's
thing,
no way,
depends
there's
on-
no chance I have coronavirus.
It depends on how hard it hits them. Like, what if Donovan Mitchell, like, it hits him really hard and, like, then I'd be fucking pissed off, too. So, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that the Olympics are probably going to get canceled, right?
They're not. They haven't made a word yet. All college sports have been canceled. College World Series, softball World
Yeah,
Series.
all college. Pretty much
lacrosse.
any, like, gatherings
Okay.
that, you know, are like, banned right now. which kinda
Universities are
sucks.
out. They're all doing online classes in the year.
Yeah, I know. Schools are out. Like, fucking shows are getting shut down and canceled. Like, it sucks.
My brother in Switzerland is partying right now because he has 7 weeks no school.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. Lucky. Although, dude, I would be nervous. I think I'd be more nervous in Europe right now than I am right in America. Right? Isn't it hitting Europe a lot harder?
But I think Europe's well more equipped than we are in America. They're saying there's not enough ventilators. You're not doing close
In America?
enough. Yeah, that we could help it, and it attacks your lungs. This virus attacks your lungs, and so people are going to need help breathing. We do not have anywhere near the ventilators that we need.
Not just compromised people. Some that would need breath ventilators, right?
Yeah, and
Or
like
is it only people that I don't know?
no, not most people. Like I said, most people. For 80% of us, it's not going to be a big deal. 80% of people who get this, it's not going to be a big deal. It's a 20%.
20%?
Not that don't die, but it's the 20%.
But 20% that are
like,
going to have problems,
Are going to have
complications.
problems. Are going to have complications.
Okay.
Like 80% of us will not need hospitalization.
Okay.
We just rest here for a couple days and
We'll be all right.
we'll be all right.
I tend to think I'd fall in that category, but
I don't want to be cocky either.
yeah, exactly. I don't want to be like, oh, fuck you. Yeah.
I mean, it is like I don't want like if I knew you had coronavirus, Evan, I wouldn't like like
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be hanging out with
Yeah,
you if I
exactly.
knew you had it, but
Yeah.
I don't think you do,
No.
you? Hope not.
If I texted you tomorrow, like, dude, I got tested positive, you'd be like, oh fuck,
I'd be like, you're a goddamn liar because we don't have any tests.
So they're also angry at Trump because, like, did you know, like, a couple
Because
weeks...
it's fun to be angry at Trump. Let's be
No,
honest.
but did you know a couple weeks ago, he, like,
Not that I love Trump. I don't like Trump.
he gave up the conspiracy that it was Democrats trying to make this thing an actual, like, take it seriously.
He's just an idiot, dude.
No,
he
and
says
Trump,
dumb shit.
Fox
dude.
News was going behind that. They're saying, if you believe in the history of the coronavirus that the Democrats are trying to put on people, and now he can't do that. Now he has to say to people like it's very serious.
Yeah.
But he was going. But there was in February 27th, he was going off like the Dems are trying to put me down about this hysteria about the coronavirus.
Yeah. People think he might have it because, like, apparently, like, he shook hands with some people that have confirmed that they have it now. So that's interesting.
And some official like said that he does have it. But I also feel like it's not the worst thing that he hasn't been tested yet if he has no symptoms. Because would you want to know that your president has coronavirus? I think that would that gives people like, oh shit, he's the president.
Make people look crazy. And dude, he might be one of the people that
Die, yeah.
that could die from it.
So
Yeah,
that
it
would
could be.
that'd be even more crazy.
Yeah.
I think I think we have to be more worried about is the economic impact.
I feel like almost all businesses are going to suffer from this, other than like
gyms,
toilet paper companies, and egg companies. Whoever's making eggs, dude, they're loving shit right now.
Or hand sanitizers.
Oh yeah, dude, hand sanitizers probably making so
they're
much
probably
money.
like, all right, projections over the next couple months, and they're like just looking like.
I was gonna go try and buy some today, but then I was like, "There's definitely no hand sanitizer left. There wasn't any like toilet paper, or eggs, anything. So like, no chance they had hand sanitizer."
It's crazy.
So I've been washing my hands a lot though. I've been washing my hands.
I've been more conscious
5 or 6 times a
I've been
day
more
now, just
conscious.
randomly.
Yeah, I've been more
Every
conscious.
time I leave work, I wash my hands.
And to be
touch
honest,
shit.
I was gonna go out Friday night, but I didn't. I just stayed in my apartment.
Yeah, dude.
But how long is it gonna be like this for? That's what we really wonder. Is it gonna get worse, or people are gonna start to really panic?
I think it's gonna get worse before it gets better, but I think it will eventually get better and be
Definitely.
okay within the next 6 months. Yeah, it's crazy, man. This whole situation's crazy, but yeah. So I mean, this has been a pretty cool episode. The JFK conspiracy really fascinates me, and again, we'll never know, but it's really interesting just to hear the different theories and shit that's going on. So,
yeah.
So that was fun to do that research, and then obviously this coronavirus thing is crazy. So I wonder if anything that we said will be relevant by the time we release this, but who knows? Do you have a plan for next episode?
No, we'll think of something.
We'll think of some. We'll leave you hanging on this one. But yeah, so thank you guys for listening to Mystery Bros. It's been fun.
Thank you.
And this is episode 5, so we're doing this thing. Thank you guys for listening. Peace out.
Mystery Brothers.
Mystery Brothers.
Mystery Brothers.
Mystery Brothers.
Mystery Brothers.
Mystery Brothers.